What's up, players, guitar players? Alright, so the purpose of this video today, well, the main purpose is to help you guys get out of being stuck in the pentatonic scale, the minor pentatonic. That's very common to get stuck in that mode, and especially right in the first position of the minor pentatonic. But I'm going to give you guys some real easy tips on how to expand your playing out of just being trapped in that pentatonic mode. I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube about this. There's some great teachers out there, better teachers than me, but what I don't see, and I'm going to try to fill a void here with this video, is I see a lot of stuff where they're just teaching you specific licks to learn, or they focus too much on following all the chord tones within the chord as the chord changes throughout the progression. And that can be very mentally exhausting for people that are new to wanting to improve their playing and getting out of being trapped in the pentatonic. Because when you get comfortable in the pentatonic, your brain kind of shuts off because you know where the notes are, you know the pattern, and you get locked into your known finger movements, I guess, and you're not thinking so much about the chord tones. And then when you switch to trying to think about the chord tones, like every time the chord changes, it can be really mentally exhausting. So the purpose of this is to relieve some of that mental exhaustion that sets in by giving some easy tips on how to get better at get better at your soloing, so you're not just stuck in the pentatonic mode. And then something else I'm want to try to do in a lot of my videos is talk about finding just some of the value that I find in music gear. I know a lot of guys out there, you gotta be careful with every dollar you spend, and some of this gear is expensive, and not a lot of people are watching my videos. I hope I get more viewers, but people that see them, they maybe some people see me with all these different guitars and they think, oh man, here's this guy just buys all this stuff. Well, the fact of the matter is, I must buy all used gear. This guitar here, this Fender Telecaster, first Fender Telecaster I've owned. This was my first Telecaster style guitar. This is actually a Sam Greg Bennett design, I think. I bought this one used as well. I'll probably sell it now that I found this one. I found this one, great condition. It'd been locked in a guy's closet. He's married. I guess his wife wanted him to sell it. It had the hard shell guitar case. I got this with the hard shell guitar case for $400. Great deal, right? And then when I sell this one, I'll try to get, I don't know, hopefully I can get like $300 for this guitar, and I didn't pay that for it. But anyway, the point is search the Facebook Marketplace, guys, to get your gear. That's the amp I'm playing through and the pedals and stuff. Anyway, let's get into this. As a bonus, there's a free backing track that I'm going to link to this video. It's the one you heard in the opening when you saw me solo, and these are some of the concepts I'm going to cover in that improv you saw me do at the beginning of the video. So let's first go over the chord progression. Okay, so the chords in the progression are going to be B minor 7, 4 bars, and then 2 bars of E minor 7, and then back to 2 bars of B minor 7, and then we go to a bar of G major. We're at the turnaround, and then a bar to A major, and then back to B minor 7. And then right at the end we hit the 5 chord, it'd be F sharp minor 7. We just hit that like right at the end, which is a great opportunity as well to kind of bust out of the pentatonic minor mode, and I'll talk about that here. So let me just play along with this backing track, and I'll play the rhythm just so you guys can, it's good to get that foundation, like the harmonic foundation, to know the chords that you're soloing over. So and by the way, guys, when you watch these videos, don't feel like you have to have a guitar in your hand and follow along with this stuff. Maybe some of you guys can just watch this and absorb things, and then later on you think, oh, I want to try some of this, use the backing track, whatever. But it's perfectly fine if you just want to sit there and listen and watch and try to digest some of these concepts, and then later pick up the guitar and maybe go back and watch the video, or just practice stuff based on memory. So anyway, let me get to this chord progression here, and I'll call it out as it goes along. So B minor 7. E minor 7. Back to B minor. G, A, B minor 7. Okay, so right at the end of the 12 bars, we had 2 beats on that F sharp minor 7. All right, so my first tip, let me get a drink of water. Okay, so my first tip on how to expand your improvising and branch out of just being stuck in the pentatonic scale the whole time is, first of all, don't be afraid to stay in the pentatonic minor for maybe one whole chord progression, like one whole set of 12 bars. Like get your fingers going for 12 bars with what you already know really well. Get yourself warmed up and just play some simple licks staying in the pentatonic minor. Or maybe you just want to stay in pentatonic minor for 4 bars, and then the next 4 bars branch out into some like chord tone colors. All right, so let's talk about that. So the first 4 bars of the progression we know is B minor 7. Well, every note in that chord is also a note in the pentatonic minor scale. So every note in that chord, every unique note in that chord is the B, D, F sharp. So, and then the dominant 7th note is our A. So all those notes are part of the pentatonic minor. So you can just, for this first 4 bars, if you just want to riff on that pentatonic minor, that's great. Or maybe start thinking about just the B minor chord and outline that chord with I mean, I'm just playing the 1, 3, 5 of the B minor 7. Okay, so the next 4 bars, or the next when we move to the E minor 7, we have this chord. All right, so in this chord, the minor third of that chord is a G. This note is not in the B minor pentatonic scale, right? Because our B minor, starting on this note, actually, if I just stay within the octave, the scale would be back to the B, and then, so as you can see, that note, that's the minor third of the E minor 7 chord. So as a good strategy to add color outside of the minor pentatonic scale is whenever the chord progression lands on that E minor 7 chord, hit that note right when it goes to that chord. Let me just play an example, starting at the top, and I'll land right on that. So I'm going to start riffing on with just the minor pentatonic scale, and then when we move to the E minor 7, I'm going to hit that note. And listen to the tonal color difference. Did you hear that? So the whole time on that E minor 7th chord, I was just resting on that G note, which is the third of the E minor 7 chord. That's a real simple way to just get a little bit outside of the pentatonic minor scale without exhausting your brain. Another thing you can do is just arpeggio the E minor chord. Don't worry about the dominant 7th note if you don't want to. So the E minor 7, you can play the arpeggio here, and then you can play the first inversion of that arpeggio here. Right? So let's hear how that sounds. Again, I'll start at the top, and then when we get to the E minor 7th chord, I'm gonna hit the arpeggio of the E minor in those two, in the first and in 1-3-5 and then 3-5-1. So first inversion of the arpeggio. So you hear that? I started out over the B minor 7th chord. I was just in pentatonic scale mode. As soon as we went to the E minor 7th chord, I hit the arpeggio of an E minor. And then I slid up here to the 12th fret, and starting on the high E string, I played the arpeggio again. And then just back to pentatonic riffs after that. So again, real easy way to just start gradually getting yourself outside of being stuck in pentatonic mode all the time. All right, so let's talk about the turnaround when we go to the G chord, and then to the A, and then back to the, I played a major chord, back to the B minor 7. So G, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, B minor, and then we hit that F minor 7 right at the end. All right, so on that G major chord, well, we already know this is a G, and then that's the third of a G major chord, the this B note. So really, it's these two notes are also two notes that are in the E minor chord, but that's the minor 3 and the 5th of an E minor chord, but in G major it's the 1 and the 3. And then when we go up to A, we can just move up 2 frets and play the 1 and the 3 of the A chord. Another nice thing to do is to hit this passing tone. So this would be a G sharp to the A. So back to B minor. So let's hear how that sounds. Okay, to the G. Alright, so if you guys heard that, I used the G sharp as a passing tone to slide into the A. So I was G here. And then back to B minor pentatonic. So again. Okay, so these two notes here, so this G note is, by the way, all of these notes are in the A natural minor scale, by the way. So some of you guys out there are like, oh, I already know A natural minor. Great. So now just know when to play certain notes within the A minor natural minor scale. So this G note is like the flat 6. But when you go to the 4 chord, the E minor, it's really good to hit that. And also when you go to the G chord and the turnaround, it's good to hit that note. And then when we go to the A chord, this note here, the C sharp, this is in terms of like chord intervals, this is the 9th, right? So if here's our or for A minor chords here, if I play that note, the C sharp, it's like a B minor 9 chord. But if I'm playing the A, if I just play like a regular A major chord, I could play it like this. It's the 3rd of the A major chord. So on that turnaround, you can do something just as simple as what I showed you, the G, B, and the A, C sharp. And then back to B minor pentatonic riffs. Okay? So, again, the idea here is not to teach you specific licks and then you just playing something that you didn't come up with your own. It's just to give you ideas on how to start branching out. So now that you have these ideas, start being creative with it. Find other places on the fretboard to play these notes, or maybe play the arpeggio instead of straight through the arpeggio, which is the 1-3-5. Maybe play 1-5-3. So, or add the dominant 7th note in there, which is the D. The D is the dominant 7th of the E minor 7th chord. So if I add that into the arpeggio, it'd be like, right? But you know, the main idea is when you go to the 4 chord of that progression, you really accent this G note because that takes you outside of the pentatonic scale. And then when you go to the turnaround, and you can also, when you're on the G chord of that turnaround, the G major chord, also really accent that G note. And then when you get to the A chord, maybe accent the C sharp, the 3rd of the A chord, because that note is also outside of the pentatonic. So just these two notes, that the G and the G and the C sharp, that's taking you outside of being stuck in pentatonic. And as you approach this, think maybe, okay, I'm going to play the first progression of my solo. I'm going to keep everything in pentatonic, and then the next solo the next 12 bars. So say you have a solo where you're playing over 2 iterations of the progression. So then the next 12 bars, you're like, okay, this is the one where I'm going to jazz it up and hit those chord tones and kind of surprise the listener with, with some new stuff that I got. So anyway, I hope that helps, guys. Backing track that I played with this is linked in the description. Feel free to use that and apply this to find other backing tracks out there. And if you like this video, please let me know. I'll make more like this where the theme is to kind of gradually take you out of being stuck in pentatonic minor or pentatonic major in like real easy ways without that mental exhaustion of always having to think about where the chords are going. So keep playing, guys. Find your voice. That's what I want. Everybody can be great. Expression, freedom of expression on the guitar. There's no rules. As Eddie Van Halen liked to say, it's music theory. It's not music fact. So have fun, guys. Keep picking. See you on the next one. Alright, guys, I almost forgot to mention what you can do over that 5 chord that you hit right at the end of the progression. So this F sharp minor 7. Okay, so again, all these notes in the F sharp minor 7 chord are in the B minor pentatonic scale, except for that note right there, which is, it's also a C sharp. Okay, so how can you approach that at the end of the progression? This is the, it's the 5th of the F sharp minor, it's the 5th of the F sharp minor chord. But a cool thing to do is right at the end of that progression is maybe hit that note. So in this case, since I'm playing it an octave down, over the A chord I was hitting it up here, I was hitting the C sharp up here, and that I call that the 9th of the B minor, like an interval in the B minor chord, that's like the 9th, or in the A major, it's the 3rd. In this case, since I'm playing it an octave down over the B minor chord, I'd call that like the 2nd, right? Or in the F sharp minor, it's the 5th of the chord. But anyway, what you can use, how you can use this to spice up your improvising is maybe right at the end of the progression when you hit that chord, hit that note, that C sharp, and then slide into the B. That kind of gives a nice harmonic minor quality to cap off your solo, because you're playing this 7th note, which again is outside of the pentatonic minor scale. This is a sharp note, and you're sliding right up into the B. So let me just put that in context if I can. Okay, turnaround. That's a G, A, and then hear that? Let me do it again. Turn around, G, A. Okay, so here it comes. Got it?